Right, hello everyone. Welcome to Redmen Radio, number 58.
Wow.
I know, yeah. Calling this question time because we're kind of in a bit of a limbo period between the end of the season and then really building up towards the Champions League final. We thought we'd just take a load of your questions from Twitter. So if you're not involved on the Twitter at the Redmen TV, do get yourself over there and do get yourself involved for future ones, because we always do take a few questions, but this one is question heavy. I'm joined, of course, by Mr. Chris Pager. Chris, how are you?
I'm all good, mate. Now that I've sorted my eyes out.
You've sorted your eyes out and you've recovered from a wonderful afternoon of
being wined and dined.
Being wined and dined, but not quite 69 by Gillan Balogun.
Yeah, it's madness. Like he was such a lovely bloke. Like, it was just a mental interview. It was probably up there. It's top 3 strangest things I've ever done at Redmen.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, well, yeah, there'll be more of that. It's going to be getting drip fed out across the YouTube and across the website, so defo worth a watch. We've got a kick-off question. Comes from our good friend Hibbs 1001. He says, we've touched on this, but we've never I don't think we've directly addressed it as such. He says, what are your match day superstitions these days? Now, I still have people come up to me at the live show last week. People mentioned to me the old double-decker thing from back in the day.
13-14.
From 13-14. People, the long-term listeners and viewers will remember that Chris and I had to have a double-decker. It was all part of the process. There was a particular news agent we had to stop in. That was what made Liverpool good that season. Now, you've got a lucky T-shirt. I know that.
Yeah.
It's your Hold Steady T-shirt.
Yeah.
Anything else?
In the big European games, it's been the Liverpool scarf, the half and half red Liverpool Reserve scarf, but didn't take it to Roma. Mm-hmm. And we lost, actually.
Oh, wow, of course, yeah.
So that's back in the game, basically, for the final. The 2 legs of the Man City and the first leg of the Roma, I wore exactly the same jeans, I wore exactly the same T-shirt, the same Under Armour jumper and my big green coat.
Undies?
I mean,
socks.
I did wear them both, but I don't think they were the same. So I suppose if you were to say to me, like, you know, what the question is, what are your match day superstitions? Well, I always get up and put socks and underwear on after I've had a shower. I always do my teeth.
That's just a day superstition.
Yeah, it is kind of, but
that's keeping you from getting run over.
But if I don't do it for the match day, what happens?
Anarchy,
exactly. Yeah. Organised chaos.
Maybe. Is there anything like anything else other than just clothing?
No, nothing.
Good on you. I mean, I don't believe that for a single
second. No, I genuinely don't.
Okay.
I sweat the small stuff.
Yeah.
More than the big stuff. Like,
yeah.
So there are things in my life that I have to do.
Yeah.
But it's not related to football.
Cool. I'm not too bad. I mean, like,
you've got your lucky turnstile.
Well, no, I haven't. I made a point of not having a lucky turnstile. There's like because now you've got like
it was only a few weeks ago when you went, I'm going in that one.
No, like what I mean is there's like there's an entrance way. I used to be particular over the turnstile. Again, like a 13-14, it was go through a particular turnstile, go a particular set of stairs.
Why did you pick that turnstile?
It was just nearest to where I come round to the cop. There's no thinking behind it. There was one for a while where there was an incredibly attractive lady student. No,
that's like, what I was looking for.
That was like a season or so ago. Like, yeah, there was a beautiful young woman who used to work on one of the turnstiles who just brightened my day.
Not exactly lucky.
Well, no, I definitely didn't get lucky. But yeah, there's you know what? It's not been as prevalent for me this time around, and I think it kind of feeds into a lot of the stuff I've said, is that it's because I don't feel as though I feel like this side can do it without me. You know what I mean? I feel like I'm not me clinging on to some sort of cosmic abnormality is not what's making Liverpool good this season. But you know, I've had good things like this jacket. I had it in Porto and I wore it in Roma, but as you say, we technically lost in Rome, so I don't think it matters so much. There's bits and pieces. I'm not too bad. No, good. Because I think the point is,
do you ever like something that I'd never have to do? Would you ever have to shave on the morning of a game or anything like that?
No, I've made a point this season of trying not to be beholden to it to some degree. So I've pushed it a bit. Like there's things that maybe I've done for a couple of games. Like it might be I'll go and I'll eat this and I'll do this, and then I'm like, no, I don't, because what I found was in 13-14, it was like I'd be coked I had a coat that I wore all season.
I remember in the summer you were still wearing the coat.
Sweating. I was like, I can't leave myself in this situation where I can't wear a coat to the game because it's too hot, and I can't have that coat be the most important thing in Liverpool's season. So I managed to I've rotated my clothing a little bit better and my routine a little bit better. So
I think probably that, if there's any one man whose superstitions do affect Liverpool's performance, it's probably Tom Dutton.
Right.
Because he literally wears the same thing every day, which means every match day he's wearing the same thing. So if he wears the LA shirt that we got him for the game, I might be a little bit worried on that.
Admittedly, there's I've had some cool new t-shirts and random stuff drop in. I mean, I'm saying it. There's some things I won't do. Because you know what it is. I've said this in the past, but it was like the 2008, 2009 away shirt, the grey silver one. Love that shirt. It's my favourite away shirt in recent times for Liverpool. We lost a few games or drew a few games when I was wearing it. And I was like, oh no, I'll stop it. I was like, no, I love this too much. I'm going to wear it till we're good. And there's like that LA t-shirt. I haven't worn mine on a match day because I really like it, and I don't want it to have negative connotations. I don't want to be like, oh, this, you know what I mean? I don't want to not be able to wear it over the summer or whatever.
I've worn mine twice at the match, 1 draw, 1 win.
Solid record.
It's decent, isn't it? I'm happy with that.
Yeah, the problem
I'm still wearing my Hold Steady shirt for the final.
Absolutely. So as mentioned, we're going to do just loads and loads of questions from you guys this week. Some really interesting ones, some really random ones. I'm going to go to news in brief first, though. 2 things. One thing really interesting, actually, Chris, Liverpool have been invited to enter a new format, Club World Cup. Now, I thought when I saw the headline of this, I was like, they're getting ahead of themselves here. They've got to win the European Cup before you worry about this. But no, they're looking to change the format. June 2021's looking like it's going to be the first one. 24-team tournaments, 12 teams from Europe, and clubs have to have at least 3 European Cups to enter, apart from the 3 spaces that they're going to use to shoehorn Man City, Chelsea, and probably like another Italian club into.
Out of interest, is that because there aren't 24 teams who've won 3 European Cups?
12.
Sorry, yeah.
I'd imagine that's the case. There's not that many. You're talking
Bayern Munich, Barcelona, Real Madrid, Liverpool, AC Milan.
Yeah.
Juventus obviously don't have it. Dortmund have 2, don't they, I think?
Do they? 2? Okay.
96, I remember.
Yeah, 96, definitely. I think that's so they've got at least 1. But yeah, I mean,
there's not 12, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, it means Nottingham Forest fall short, unfortunately.
Did they win any Intercontinental Cups, though?
Well, that's
what
Juve
have been entered on that basis.
Well, they said that, they're going to let Juve in because they've won 2 Intercontinental Cups. It's like, all right, yeah, that's where it starts to get a bit like, it's the creme de la creme de la creme. Apart from, well, we really do need Juve in there. And Man City have got a lot of money, haven't they? So,
Chelsea don't mind paying.
They'd have liked to have won 3. So, I mean, that's almost as good as having 3, except that it's not. So the tweets...
Did you see that video of the lad going around Manchester yesterday or the day before asking for directions to Kiev?
No.
Fucking brilliant.
Amazing.
Anyone in a Man City shirt, he was like... This guy just walks past him in a Man City shirt and he goes, do you know which way Kiev is, mate? And the guy goes...
Fantastic. I did see a tweet... apologies, I can't remember. It's someone. I think it might be Ben Webb might have tweeted it, and it was someone saying Phil Foden, the 17-year-old lad's got more Premier League titles than Steven Gerrard, and it's like Trent Alexander-Arnold, the 19-year-old lad's gone to more Champions League finals than Man City in their entire history. So yeah, just bear that in mind. Interesting stuff.
Did you see the picture of Foden on the homecoming thing?
No.
So everyone like peps on the fucking throwing beers out into the crowds, and Bernardo Silva's drinking champagne, and Foden's got a Vimto slush because he's not old enough to drink, is he? He's clearly requested that as well because they've not gone, I'll just get him a Vimto slush.
I'll get him a bit. Imagine if he did though. But I don't know which is worse. What's worse, that he's requested that or that someone?
I know what these young kids drink.
Yeah, and I know he's gone. Who wants a champagne? I'll have a champagne. Oh, none for you, Phil. We've got your Vimto slushy there, lad. And he's gone, oh, okay. Thanks. But I want a champagne. Well, it's really nice anyway. It's fine. Sweet. It's really sweet and icy.
It's like moonshine.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. But yeah, the Club World Cup stuff. The talk that participants could earn £100 million, and China are after hosting the first tournament as well. This is the future. I don't think there's any stopping this, if I'm honest. We've talked about the European Super League being a thing. It's been 20 odd years they've been banging on about this, and it's never looked likely. I think this is the first step to that. You make a massive tournament. The Club World Cup's a bit of a joke, isn't it, at the moment?
It's pathetic. Only because we haven't won it. But yeah, no, I think it's 100 million if you win it, and it's 50 million guaranteed, and then obviously there's different prices for how far you get into the.
But when you consider, we've basically, that's what we've made almost for going to the final of the Champions League.
It's incredible, and there's so much money to be made in football, isn't there? If you can fit it in, I can understand why the clubs would want to be involved in it and stuff like that. And I imagine there'd be prestige in this tournament, the fact that there's 12 teams from Europe, 12 teams from the rest of the world or whatever. But, we've been talking now for the past how many years about why English clubs aren't winning the Champions League, and, it's because Liverpool haven't been in it, I think is the real answer. But we know how hard our domestic season is. We know how hard it is to challenge in European competition as well, taking the red tinted glasses off for a moment. To then say, we're going to fill another summer up is a bit like, come on, man, are you for real? Like, you are actually ruining these players by playing them all year long, every year.
It is interesting, and it makes you wonder, again, whether teams would take it seriously, and I guess just the money means that they'd have to. And at the minute it will be in one of those summers that doesn't have a Euros or the World Cup, and they're talking about moving the Confederations Cup, I think. But this is, for me, potentially the beginning of the end for international football, in potential as well. Because what happens if this tournament could carry the same prestige as a Euros? There's a chance that more people would give a shit about watching that.
Well, because it's not England.
Because it's not England.
It's watching Liverpool, isn't it, ultimately? And, I must admit, okay, I've not really thought this one through, so you're going to have to bear with me a little bit on this, but how many games are we talking about here? It's called a cup, for a start. Well, 24 becomes 12, becomes 6, becomes 3.
Well, the Euros was 24 teams, wasn't it? Like the last Euros.
But the Champions League is called a league.
Yeah.
I'm thinking it should be a cup competition because it's fewer games. Because it's a summer competition, that's what I would hope that it would be, rather than a league where you're guaranteed to play this many games.
What I mean is, you'd imagine it would be group stage followed by knockouts.
That's what I wouldn't want. I'd rather have it as a 32 teams becomes 16 teams, becomes 8, becomes 4, becomes 2.
They can't do that.
But they can't do that with 24, I don't think.
They can't do it with 24, but also they wouldn't do that because they'd end up with you'd want to guarantee that Real Madrid play at least 3 games in the tournament. You know what I mean? That's the way. Yeah, exactly. And like I said, the Euros, isn't it? And they look at these and they just go, "What's the most we can milk out of these?" But so be it. I'd be interested. I'd rather watch Liverpool in a true world club tournament.
See you in 2021 in China, my friends.
Yes, cannot wait. Maybe we'll swerve that. Hopefully we'll have some fresh blood to take over the long haul flight to that. Or maybe that's by the time maybe that time we're just basically the Hulk Hogan and
our fucking WrestleMania, mate.
Yeah, that's our
we're
WrestleMania.
Just coming back for the win.
We're just coming for the big tournaments. Fantastic. So yeah, we're going to go through. Oh yeah, sorry, no. Actually, there's one more piece of news. Bigger news for our domestic compatriots at Toffee TV, of course. But
not rivals. But not rivals.
Not
it's what you didn't say there, Paul. that rang loudest, mate.
Sam Allardyce has been sacked.
Yeah, he's rinsed them. 10 million quid. He's taken a team from 13th to 8th.
That's
10 million quid.
His job was done before he even set foot in the dugout. They won that game. Dave Unsworth won his last game in charge against West Ham. Everton got within 3 points of the European places for winning that, and everyone went, "Oh, hang on,
shit.
Oh dear." Yeah, I mean he's gutted, isn't he? And I think Sam Allardyce. Don't think Sam Allardyce has the same opinion of himself as everyone else in football has of him. I don't mind Allardyce particularly, but he was never.
Is the England squad coming out today?
Yeah.
Okay, so he's been sacked on the day he should have been releasing his England squad. That's like a double kick in the teeth,
Oh,
isn't it?
no, I'd not even thought about that. He should be making his plans. His summer plans for his first ever World Cup as an international manager. Sam Allardyce.
Sam Allardyce.
And he's not. He's just going to be at the job centre. In fact, he won't be. He'll be drinking bottles of gravy.
Pints of wine. Pints of wine and gravy chasers.
Yeah, I love the Evertonians that are as happy about this as they would have been. Like they're more happy and vociferous than Liverpool fans are. We're going to a European Cup final. They've just sacked Sam Allardyce as their manager, having finished 8th in the Premier League.
Toffee TV's Twitter and Instagram have been pretty good today.
Just sad pictures of Sam Allardyce with a little bit of writing around them. Fantastic. The fair play to him. But the thing that I don't get is the Marco Silva stuff. I got it last season. I got it as in like he's clearly good. He's clearly a good manager, and he's got a little bit of experience now in the Premier League, and that would have made a solid appointment. But they've had a year to think about this. They've had all year to think about it, and their answer to the Everton conundrum is to get Marco Silva. Look, it might work, but it feels underwhelming.
I think it does from the outside looking in, but I think, much like Jurgen Klopp, if he decides a play is right, he doesn't mind waiting for it. And Mashiri's decided a year ago that Marco Silva was the right guy. And if rumours are to be believed, and Watford are putting an official complaint now about Everton tapping him up, haven't they, and stuff. I think that happened late last night or whatever. Excuse me. If rumours are to be believed, and that did unsettle him, and he was trying to almost force a way out, then you can't really look at the first few games of this season as to why he shouldn't be signed. You know what I mean? You've got to just take it on the basis of last season. Does that make sense?
No.
If he's unsettled and he's not performed because of that unsettling, or because he wants to move on, then Shiri's not looking at that thinking that's the real Marco Silva.
No. Yeah, I mean that's fair play. Yeah. If that's how he is judging it, it's fine. Like, I mean, but what I mean is that for a club that's supposed to have mega millions and billions in the and they're wanting to show big intent and big ambition,
but they don't, and they never will.
Well, there you go. That's the difference.
That's the crux of it.
But that's the story they've been sold, isn't it? And it's it promises to be a very interesting summer of them spending ludicrous amounts of money on bang average Premier League quality players. First question this week comes from
another Everton,
another Sigurdsson, mate. Gylfi Sigurdsson. You could have bought. I mean, they got £15 million change on Mo Salah.
Yeah, but Gylfi, lad. You know what I mean?
It's good at free kicks.
He was the one, and they needed another 6 number 10s.
Ben, at Youngie LFC 99. Have there been any players you've been genuinely disappointed in this season?
I can't say there has been. Maybe there's a recency bias to that. Thinking about it a little bit deeper, maybe Sturridge I was a little disappointed in early on in the season. That's probably it. Like I'm not disappointed in the performances of some players, but I'm disappointed in the seasons in that Adam Lallana, Nathaniel Klein. Going into the season, if you'd have said to me, Klein, he's going to miss pretty much the entire season, that would have disappointed me. But you know, the emergence of Trent, the emergence of Joe Gomez, that means that's fine. Lallana's performance haven't exactly been disappointing for how long he's been out for, but I'm disappointed to have not had Lallana.
Like I said, I've got Sturridge is the only one I noted down there, and I got it with a question mark, because it's not like, because, look, we did like a transfer show 3 seasons ago, and I said we should have booted him 3 years ago. He was done, you know, and he's... So I'm kind of disappointed because this was his last hurrah, this was his last chance, and I think we've seen disappointing because I've seen how good Daniel Sturridge can be. You know, what a phenomenally talented footballer, this great finisher, and it's just his body's just let him down. So I'm disappointed. I'm not disappointed. And there's people who are disappointed in him, which is wrong, because there's no way Daniel Sturridge wants to be not fully fit. And I'm sure Daniel Sturridge wakes up every morning and goes, oh, how can I be slower and more injury prone? What can I do? What can I do to make this happen? It just doesn't happen, does it? So I'm disappointed because I thought Daniel Sturridge had a role in the squad. Now, with the gift of hindsight of looking back on the full season, I'm fully not arsed. I'm not arsed because I think, you know, I don't think we've missed them. Or rather, I mean, I guess we have. I mean, we'll never know, of course, will we? It's like the Coutinho thing. It's the intangibles that you can never measure. It would have been nice to have another striker who could score slightly more goals, because again, Ings got one Solanke got 1. I wouldn't have shocked me to see Daniel Sturridge get 5 or 6 or 7 or whatever.
Maybe he would have got more than that even. You never know, do you? But what does that mean for the development of those other players?
Of the players who've been out, and there's a question about the loan stuff in a bit. But
it's Gareth Roberts, Roberts 95Y.
Let's skip to that then. He says, which of the youth team players has players out on loan will be in and around the first team next season? I would be surprised to see Divock Origi back in the fold.
Yeah.
I would be surprised to see Ovi Ajaria back in the fold. I would be surprised to see Shea Ojo back in the fold. I hope to see Harry Wilson because I don't see what more he can do.
Yeah, I mean, I was reading an interesting thread on Twitter, and I forget, so apologies whose thread it was, but it was like, the question was posed, has there ever been a more impressive loanee from Liverpool to someone else
I can't think
in the last 10, 15 years? And that's it really, isn't it? I mean, he's done brilliantly, and he's done brilliantly in the unders when he's been in there as well. You'd like to hope, as you say, that he would get back in and around this squad. I think Brewster's another one who I think will be in and around the squad next season if we can tie up his contract or whatever it is, or those grey areas there. I think Woodburn's going to be in and around the squad again. I think Grujic has got a possible place in the squad.
In fact, he's another one. He's probably the two best loan moves Liverpool have had in recent time probably come this season. They probably come from Grujic and that. I don't know about the Marco Grujic stuff. I still don't know where he fits in Liverpool's team and system. What he's probably done for himself there, though, is guaranteed himself a £15 million move to a newly promoted Premier League team. If nothing else in that.
I wonder whether, like, we've spoken so many times at length about Klopp's plan Bs and stuff like that, but the way that Fellaini can just rough up a game of football, Grujic has got that ability in him.
Yeah.
And I think he's a much tidier player as well. He's not... he will be a much tidier player than Fellaini. I don't think at the moment he probably is, but I do see that there's... I look at the squad and I think to myself, you know what? I like why we've been linked with Lanzini, because for me he fulfills a role in the squad that I don't think we've got if we don't have a fit Adam Lallana. I see Adam Lallana as a creative midfielder, but not in the same mould as Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain or Gini Wijnaldum or something. So I like the Lanzini fit because Adam Lallana's 30 years old now. He turned 30 a few days ago. He's coming off the back of missing almost an entire season. For me, filling that type of a role is cool, and then equally going back onto the Grujic stuff. We don't have a midfielder like Grujic, and I wouldn't mind that option, but it's whether Klopp sees it like that, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And it's also that, because we talked about it a bit during the season, we made like the Fellaini comparison of just throwing a midfielder and just throwing him in behind the front line. But I was totally on board with that until I saw how we lined up against Brighton with putting Solanke in beyond the line instead, and how much that changed things. And I don't think you need... I think the problem with Grujic is that you can do it with Fellaini because, Fellaini can do it at Man United because he's just grateful to be at Man United because he's never going to be in a better club in his life, is he? Let's be honest. And he's a bit older and blah, 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 blah. Whereas I don't know that for how often and what you would need him for, I think it would be it's a waste of Grujic to keep him there in that regard. But I agree that it wouldn't. You can do worse than having a ladder you can just smack the ball up to periodically.
It's mad though, isn't it? Because of the injury this season, he may have got games in the Premier League towards the end of it. And that's just the way that football goes sometimes, isn't it? So, and here's the thing, and that's why Jurgen Klopp's so important in all of this. I don't think he'd keep a player for what you've just explained there, for that or what I've just said. Sorry, if that you might need him towards the end of the season. He just wouldn't do that to a player. Whereas, I'm not as much of a people person. I wouldn't give a shit as much about Grujic. If he fulfilled something that I thought the squad needed, I'd keep him anyway. But then, Klopp's cultivated an atmosphere around the thing that proves that his way's the right way.
And there's a degree to it. They probably just do it again. They've got the spreadsheet and they're like, right, this is how many minutes we've got left in the squad. What can we trim off to plan for the future? And look, if it means that you're right, maybe Grujic would have helped in the back end of the season, but if it means he comes back actually able to contribute properly next season, then it was a calculated gamble. Just on the Harry Wilson stuff, I mean, the thing is, that lad's going to be a Welsh international for the next 15 years because Wales will pick him regardless of whether he's in League One, Championship or the Premier League or abroad or whatever. I just don't know where he. I was watching his goals back this morning for Hull, and it's mad how many different types he scores. Like cutting in from the right on his left hand foot, arrive on his left hand foot. Wow. It's true. No one's ever said it that way. Coming in from the left-hand side, arriving late, sticking stuff in, whatever. He's clearly a very, very talented lad. I just don't know if he's. I think in the Championship, I think he's fine to play on the flanks. I don't think in the Premier League I would want him to play there. And so it's then whether he is. You mould him in like what you used to describe as the Lallana role, because he hasn't got electric pace. He's quick. He's probably quicker than Lallana, but is he then intelligent enough to play in midfield for Liverpool at the top end? I hope so. I genuinely hope, because like I say, he's got an eye for goal, which should and it's now not an eye for goal where he's scoring against a bunch of kids his own age. He's gone and done it in a very, very competitive league. So yeah, he's given himself the best possible chance, if nothing else. Okay, following on a little bit from my answer, certainly from Ben's question earlier, Sean Madman Robbo 26. Where do you think Sturridge will be next season? I mean, almost 100%
it's
not Liverpool.
I've honestly got no idea where he could land, mate.
The fact that he gets injured like in his first game for West Brom. There was a great point made. I had made somewhere, I can't for the life of me where I heard it, but it was along the lines of centre forwards will always have a value, and someone particularly with Daniel Sturridge someone will always take a punt on Daniel Sturridge, because they will think, well, we just won't train him. We'll just keep him, we'll just put him in for matches and he'll score us. And because you've just got to look at how few people actually do score goals. If he could get 10 goals across a season, that's more than most teams in the Premier League have players who score that amount of goals. But I got Newcastle, Bournemouth, West Ham's. It will always be a decent shout, because that's where we offload players we don't want to for more money than
I just think, like, if you're analysing the type of team that he's going to go to, for me, it's got to be someone that plays two up top, and there just aren't that many of them. Because, you could go to a Rafa side, but how are they going to play him in? Do you know what I mean? Yeah. We know that he's not at his best when he's playing that one up top, because he doesn't have the pace that he used to have to be able to get in behind. So you need a team that's going to work him in, and teams lower down the league just don't play like that. There's not enough. Like, you might get a Brighton who likes to play the ball around and stuff like that, but again, with the one up top stuff, you've got your two wingers. They feed them balls in. Now, if Crystal Palace were to play a two up top, play him off someone like a Christian Benteke, that type of thing would work for me.
Yeah, that would be very interesting.
I just can't see it unless he's playing in a two up top.
It is. It's a conundrum, isn't it? And I just think my immediate thought was just sort of thinking of teams in the Championship, and it's whether someone abroad, because you're seeing it a little bit more. Teams abroad is actually starting to dabble more with 4-4-2, and there might be someone in Spain or Italy who could have a decent season with. It's a real tough one, and like I say, I love Daniel Sturridge. I love the bones of him. I think he's a great man, and he's a terrific footballer. I hope he gets a move that's befitting of him, and or equally though, I hope he doesn't make the wrong decision for the right reasons, if that, you know what I mean? Like, I hope he doesn't end up somewhere that doesn't fit him because he feels he should be somewhere. I'd rather him go somewhere like a Bournemouth, you know what I mean? If somewhere less fashionable, but he's gonna be a mega star to them, and they're going to treat him the right way. Be interesting to see, regardless. You touched on this a little bit just earlier, Chris, with Lanzini, but Make Me Dream, who's at Klep _ says, who do you want Liverpool to sign and why?
Yeah, there's a few players. I mean, like, listen, I'd love someone like a Jorginho. Again, going back to my point before about filling roles in the squad, I'd love someone like an Ndidi, a proper destroyer as well. Someone who loves to get involved in the tackling side of things. A tricky forward who can play across all of the front three. If we're going to dabble with this 4-2-3-1 that we saw against Brighton with Firmino in the 10, then I'd want a superstar up front, so Timo Werner, for example. I'd love a Pulisic as well. I want a really strong centre-half. Alderweireld would be the one. Yeah. So yeah, not much to ask for, Paul, really, I suppose.
I would, if I could only make, right now, and this will change, this changes day by day, and I'll probably do a video on this at some point soon, probably when we get past the Champions League, but if you told me we could only sign Toby Alderweireld and Ryan Sessegnon this summer, I'd be made up. That would do me. I think we need a bit more. But I think that what another Alderweireld's better than Lovren, he's better than Matip, and therefore that's a better centre-back pairing we've got. And I think Van Dijk's better than Vertonghen, and I think that could potentially be a great partnership there. And it would be out of the mould for Liverpool as well. I don't think we'll buy an old centre-half. I think we'll go and find the next ... It was interesting. We just watched the entirety of the '84 European Cup final. We need a new Mark Lawrenson. And I'd never realised this until I watched him play. Everyone bangs on about Hansen, and Hansen's very Van Dijkish.
Lawrenson was the first one who used to bring the ball out like that, wasn't he?
Not even for that. What we need him for is the opposite of that. What Lawrenson, because Lawrenson wasn't bringing the ball out in that game, but what he's just so fast. His recovery was incredible. He was the one who was doing all the running in the centre back pairing. Alan Hansen was just strolling about the pitch, heading things, winning things, strolling up the pitch a little bit, laying it off and whatever. Lawrenson was, I gave Lawrenson my man of the match 20 years on, but because he was just so energetic in how he performed, and that's what I think I've said in the past. I think we need a Carragher, but I think if you could get a Carragher with pace, that would solve a lot of things. And unfortunately, I think you're better off shopping in the 18, 19, 20-year-old bracket in that regard, because it's a lot of physical exertion that we ask of these players. And again, if we can train someone up in that regard, there's one thing as well. Interestingly, we talk about maybe the impact of what losing Buvac will do. It's not a concern for the defence. Jurgen Klopp has been organising defence since he was player manager at Mainz. So yeah, being able to blood people in the way that he wants to be done, I think that would be the answer for me. I don't know who that player is, of course, but addition Ryan Sessegnon, someone's going to take a punt on him this summer, regardless of whether Fulham come up or not. He is the next great young talent. We should spend whatever it takes to get him. Because he solves so many problems for us. You can play him left wing as understudy to Mane, or you can play him right wing as understudy to Salah. He's got a great eye for goal, phenomenal pace. Again, can be trained up. And if you really need an offensive cover for the full-back position as well, that way you can let Moreno. If Moreno wants to move on, although it looks like we're actually offering him a new contract, which is also sound. Ryan Sessegnon would be my absolute pick. Not wrong. I mean, a Pulisic, etc. But yeah, Sessegnon all day long. ESB88 asked us this one. He says, build the worst referee from their worst attributes, not restricted to Premier League decisions against LFC this season, i.e. who is the worst at or has the worst categories: haircut, demeanour, run, decision making, bias, and any others you can think of. I really struggled with this.
I've got no idea, none whatsoever, because they're all just the same. They're all crap to me, and I hate every single one of them. I go to when you go to the game, people turn around to you and go, who's the ref today, or whatever, because not everyone buys a programme or whatever nowadays, and you don't tend to see that on Twitter very often unless it's a big game, do you, about who the ref is. And I look at them and I'm like, I don't know why I'm looking. I can't pick any of them apart. They're all just divvies.
Yeah, I mean, I know a few of them, but again, individual attributes or whatever, I couldn't. I just think the referees are just. I think you're right. They become so bland. I mean, the days of a Graham Powell or a Pierluigi Collina or God, even a Clattenburg. Even Clattenburg stood out in his own way, or Howard Webb. Love him or hate him, at least you knew he
knew who he was.
Kevin Friend could walk past me. He could walk up to me and say, "Hi, I'm Kevin Friend," and I'd be like, "Who?" And then I'd go, "Oh, you Facebook." Yeah, yeah, exactly. And there's a few. I mean, Pawson was terrible. Friend was telling Martin Atkinson, terrible. Yeah, I let us know though in the comments, or you can email us, or you can tweet in, because some people do know this and pay more attention to this. And in fact, ESB88, let me know yours, because you could give us your answer to it, because I think you thought about it more than maybe we've got time for here. Can build your worst referee. And let us know what you've got for it. Okie dokie. Adam Boland, Ginger_Boland, opinion on the under-17 semi-final penalty shootout with Ireland and Netherlands. Disgraceful refereeing. You watched this very briefly before we started.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen a goalkeeper sent off, let alone booked?
Well, he was booked, wasn't he? Therefore sent off. No, not for leaving your line. I can't remember one single occasion.
So for people who've not seen this, under-17 Euros, Holland versus Ireland, it's the decisive penalty. Netherlands player steps up, Keeper pulls off an absolute worldie of a save. Diving to his right, pushes it away.
Illegal save.
Yeah, referee books him. It's his second yellow. Sends him off because he moves off his line before the ball was kicked. The kid is like, he's like 16, 17-year-old kid is devastated.
He's rolling around like Ronaldo when no one's touched him.
Mate,
so you know exactly what he's doing. Like, he's devastated.
He gets like all his mates come and help him get off the pitch, and he's crying his eyes out, and he's having to give his kit over, and this put a centre half in goal, and they score. Holland score, and they go through, and Ireland add yet another person to the shit list. There's a wall somewhere in Ireland of people who are just not allowed back. It's probably at like the ports and the airports, and it's just do not let this man in. And it's basically a big picture of Thierry Henry, and now they've got this referee alongside as well. Absolutely terrible. I mean, I've seen the proper analysis. They're trying to analyse and go, well, he did move, and it's like, oh, fuck off. Since when does a goalkeeper not move? That's the only way to save a penalty, is unless you stay still and they kick it down the middle. It's almost impossible to save a penalty if you don't move. So yeah, I'm quite annoyed about that. We're going to take some more questions in a moment, but some amazing things coming up for you. In fact, two things that we're going to have a little sneaky peek at. As mentioned, we watched the whole of the 1984 European Cup final. We've done an alternative commentary track to it, so we found the version of it online that you can watch through. I wonder if you might even be able to get it on the Liverpool website as well if you're on there. But you can play along our commentary as a podcast while watching it and hear our thoughts on the game. Here's a little bit of that.
Is the wobbly leg something that Bruce did just off his own back, or did someone tell him to do it?
Just off his own back.
Yeah.
So it's interesting here that they're talking about because goalkeepers weren't allowed to move. Like, you weren't allowed to move off your spot. So
really?
You couldn't, like, you can jump across the line and all that kind of stuff. Obviously that's changing that time, and he's saying a lot about how he's a good penalty taker, penalty saver, but he moves. They're not legal saves.
Every goal used to move. They'd jump forward and they'd cut the angle down. Yeah. That was the tactic. I remember at this point I just sank to my knees.
Yeah.
I was sitting down, I just sank to my knees, and then by the end of the penalty shootout, I've actually moved. I realised at the end of it, I actually moved about 4 foot during the penalty shootout. I got closer and closer to myself.
Right over the bar there, doesn't it?
That's the rookie mistake, isn't it? To go high into the top corner.
Yeah.
You always miss it.
And in addition to that, because the season's wrapped up, we did a fantastic two-parter wrapping up the Premier League season as well. Fantastic. Just a bit of a deep dive, and we gave some awards out in terms of, obviously, best and West performers, highlights of the season, etc., etc.
Who did we give the West award to?
The West award to. Have a listen.
You think our top scorer last season was Phil Coutinho with 14, and the year before and the year before that it was Sturridge with about 13, and then before that you might be getting into Luis Suarez territory or something. So this is how good he's performed against previous Liverpool top scorers as well, and that's just Premier League. Yeah. He's been unbelievable. I mean, we've spoken so much about him over the course of a year. I just don't think this Liverpool side, like you said there, is as good without Bobby Firmino, and I don't think there's a player in world football that would swap for him, which says a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. What about yourself, Chris?
It was Bobby Firmino. Yeah.
Amazing. Glossing over my inability to speak. Milesy Clopsy20 says, what's it like having Klopp tell you he watches the videos?
I don't friggin' know is the answer to that, but I imagine it's great, okay? Yeah? I imagine getting a selfie in California with Steven Gerrard is great as well, but I wouldn't know about that either, would I?
You've got some terrible decision-making abilities. Do you want to come and do this? Nah, I can't be asked. To be fair, I have one thing that hangs over my head for my entirety of my life was I had tickets to a Peter Blake exhibit open at the Tate, and I just couldn't get anyone to go with me. I couldn't be asked getting a bus into town, and I was like 17, and Paul McCartney was there, and I missed meeting Paul McCartney because I couldn't be asked going to town, and I've never met Paul McCartney, and I probably never will. And that haunts me to this day. So thanks, Jürgen, for coming over and saying hello. Giddy like a little school girl, like a little schoolboy, like anyone really. Giddy. Unapologetically so. Like he blindsided me in a big way, and people have come to me and asked me about it. And there's a degree to which we talk about a lot of things that happen to us and a lot of them, and you get asked a lot of the same questions at times, and it can get a bit like I've given the same response, but no, yeah, it just brings a smile to my face. Thanks, Jürgen, if you're watching. Thanks very much, mate. Right, we're gonna move on.
Jürgen, if you're watching, can you say hi to me, please? Because I really would like you to say hi.
We'll see him soon. Don't worry, I'm sure. We'll track him down.
Jürgen's only spoke to me once and he shouted at me.
Yeah.
Jürgen, if you're watching, I'm sorry.
Evan O'Reilly, Evan_5397. Does Milner spend the final doubling up with Trent on Ronaldo, or do we just go about our own business?
I don't think tactically that's how Real Madrid will go at us, to be honest. Again, he is a centre-forward nowadays. He doesn't tend to change his role for who the team's going up against. So he might go over to that left-hand side at times during the game, but I don't think it'll be... He'll just be taking advantage of space as opposed to, well, there's chance I'm going to go over there and do that, where he's just as likely to go and find some space on the other side.
Who are they likely to have up against Trent?
It's probably going to be Marcelo.
Right.
Marcelo, and because of the way the Cruz moves around the pitch, it's quite an unorthodox position the Cruz takes up at times. So his tendency is like when James Milner's covering for Andy Robertson. Like you got Robertson moving forward, and then you've got Milner slotting into that space. Well, Cruz tends to take up these weird positions to allow Marcelo to go on and bomb forward. Right. So it's going to be Marcelo, I think, that's going to be playing up against Trent. Or it depends what formation they play, because if they play that sort of 4-3-1-2 that they've been playing over the last few weeks as well, you're going to have somebody like Asensio probably rotate into that area of the pitch as well.
So effectively,
with Marcelo.
Just to flip this on its head, they're effectively leaving either Cruz or Asensio up against Salah?
Yes, and probably more likely Varane.
All the best.
But Varane is very good in those situations, I've been told. I don't watch enough of Real Madrid. But I was speaking to Guillem Balaguer yesterday, and he said if there's one centre-back at Madrid that you'd want out there, it wouldn't be Ramos, it would be Varane, because he's very good at those sort of last-ditch tackles. He's a very good tackler and stuff like that. That's Guillem Balaguer's words, not mine.
Amazing. Well, yeah, again, there's going to be some stuff on the redmentv.com, as well as the other stuff we've discussed. So if you want to go to the redmentv.com, start a free month. If you haven't started it yet, do it. What an amazing time to be a Red. What an amazing time to be alive. What an amazing time to be a theredmentv.com subscriber. So much great content coming. We're going to be watching every one of the European Cup final wins as well. Yeah. Oh, yeah. As well as exclusives with Guillem Balaguer. We've got a very special guest. We'll keep the very special guest, I think, on the wraps for now, for next week.
Yeah.
Unless you want to go big on it.
Nah.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. Some genuinely incredible stuff coming up. So yeah, please do go and subscribe to the website. You won't regret it in any way, shape, or form. I promise. It's going to be very interesting to see how the tactical line up, and you're going to be doing some of that stuff with Statman Dave.
Yeah, we've got Statman Dave. He's been doing his research on Real Madrid. He's coming in on Thursday this week. That'll be going out next week as well. We're going to be looking at the evolution of the Real Madrid side under Zinedine Zizou, and we're going to be looking at Liverpool over the last couple of years, as well as Klopp's Dortmund, to see the similarities and the tactical approaches that both managers will take. We're going to look at some of the key battles. We'll be looking at Marcelo, we'll be looking at Toni Kroos, we'll be looking at maybe a Modric as well as some of the Liverpool players I'll be taking a look at. So I'm really looking forward to that. That's taking a lot of my time at the moment, but it's hopefully, and it will be, a great video.
Fantastic. So yeah, more tactical analysis coming up on both the website and on the YouTube channel as well. Klopp J, C Cat King. Do LFC really care about fans and the issue facing them to get to Kiev? This is a tough one, I think, Chris. I don't think Liverpool don't care about fans, but I also think they could do more, if I'm perfectly honest. And I think there was a little bit of misinformation that came out the other week, wasn't there, where it was like Real Madrid are putting £300 flights on for the fans, and everyone went apeshit and Liverpool, why didn't you do this? And there was no evidence that was a thing whatsoever. I've seen something else that said like they're putting £500 or £600 ones on, whatever. I think Liverpool could maybe do more in this. I'm not entirely certain what they could do. I mean, maybe subsidise certain flights or whatever, or I don't know whether this is... I think the problem with this is that you mentioned this on the show, we've got a bit of luck here. You know, any other year, it's a perfectly reasonable location for a football match to be taking place. That it's Kiev, that it's exacerbated, I think, the fact that UEFA it's just a really corrupt organisation for loads of rich fat cats and companies. When you can get there on a Eurostar or on a train, and it doesn't kill your week off to do it, I don't think you're as much arsed about those things that are around it. But when you look at Kiev and you look at the fact that hotel rooms are between $2,000 and $3,000 at the cheapest, when you look at it between 1,200, well, you're looking at between 600 and 1,200 quid for a return flight, which has got 2 stops in the arse ends of Europe on the way as well. I really don't know. I don't have the answer, but I do feel as though there might be more that could be done.
I've considered this, and I agree with what you're saying completely, actually. And part of the reason why is I don't know what departments of Liverpool would be set up to deal with this. Do you know what I mean? Like, everyone's got a job. Is there a department that just sits there waiting for something like this to happen? Or who does this job go to? Like, when something like this happens, it's like, well, we'll just turn to the Liverpool fans are in the shit department. Oh, wait, there's no one there. Like, who picks up the slack on this type of stuff? Because Tony Barrett's been amazing as an ambassador and, you know, keeping everybody informed and stuff like that. But then it's not his job to go and subsidise or decide to subsidise flights for people.
Yeah.
And how do you even go about doing that?
But
I
should
know.
there be? I mean, my feeling is that there should be some sort of, whether there's just a discretionary fund put away that's just there, and it's break the glass in case of a ridiculous situation for Liverpool fans. So a match gets moved to a day when there's no trains to get you back, so you put a bunch of coaches on. And I know this is a massively different kind of situation, and the problem is you're talking about 16,000 people, more or less. That's a lot of flights that you've got, you know what I mean, you'd have to put on or whatever. This is what I mean. I think it's a tricky one.
The airport's quite small in Kiev as well, isn't it? So there's loads of different things whereby there's just not that many planes that can get into the city. Liverpool John Lennon Airport's quite small as well. You know, I heard that there was like 70 attempts for chartered flights on the day of the game, and they only were able to go through with like 20 of them or something ridiculous like that. But, you know, shows the demand was always there, which means that then people have to start going and finding different ways to get across and stuff. I just don't know that, and this might be the club being wrong. I just don't know that there's something set up for that. And, you know, there's loads of things I'd like this club to do. One of them would be subsidise, you know, in these type of extreme situations. Another would be £1 of everyone's season ticket money for every game goes to grassroots footballs in Liverpool. Yeah. Like, I don't think that's a big thing to ask, but £55,000 a week or 18 times a year would probably pay for grassroots football in Merseyside full stop for how many years, you know what I mean? But there's tons and tons of things that I'd like Liverpool to do that they don't.
This is the thing. I think a lot of this is a UEFA issue, and I think it's what I don't know if Liverpool care about fans. I think they do slightly more than they have done in recent years. I think they pay more attention. I think more efforts are being made. The appointment of Tony Barrett is a good example of that for me, anyway. In my experience of him, and I think it
does come from the top, and it comes from the personalities within the club, doesn't it? As soon as they recognise that it's more than just the business, and those personalities recognise that it's more than the business, then you've got change. Yeah. But change can only happen over a course of time.
Yeah.
You know, for example, and it's completely off topic, but you have women journalists in football and stuff. Now, I'm sure they go through different things than male journalists do. Now, there's more and more women journalists nowadays, but I would guess that they feel like they have to go on and prove themselves more than men, because the traditional view is women don't know anything about football and all that type of stuff. And, you know, as more and more women get involved in the game and more women start to become journalists, then that will change. But it's going to take a long time for that to happen. So that's what I'm kind of saying with the Liverpool stuff, is that you can put these personalities in place, but to filter that down throughout an organisation and an industry is going to take a long time to change viewpoints.
Yeah, to be fair, like I said, I think the point I'm driving at is that Liverpool are taking positive steps. Sound. It's UEFA that don't care about fans, and they're the ones who've made this difficult for it because they've put it, you know, in a city that's very, very difficult to get to. And there's a question here from Michael Cohen, actually. He says, opinions on the final being hosted in Kiev in the first place. The only teams outside of the top 5 leagues to make the final in the past 25 years have been Porto and Ajax, and it's still nowhere near Kiev. I know they want to reach more markets, but it's unfair to suppose. Now, here's the thing. Is it unfair on the people of Kiev to not be given a final because it's hard for us to get there, taking our fan hats off, so to speak? Should the people of Ukraine be denied this kind of event because because we think it's a bit of a ball ache?
Not for those reasons, but if the infrastructure isn't right to host a final and your city doesn't have the hotels and it doesn't have the Airbnbs and it doesn't have the airport to facilitate 70,000 people coming in for one day, then yes, your city doesn't deserve it. It's got to go to cities that are able to be done. But then equally, you don't want to get into a situation where you throw, like the way FIFA throw World Cups and then have to build a shit ton of stadiums. That really should go to a country that can facilitate it, and you're not going to destitute the people and kill them while they're working on stadiums and stuff. Yeah. Somewhere in the middle probably needs to be where these things are held.
Yeah, that's it.
They've known about it for a few years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know.
But the thing is, again, it's not. No one's complained until it's their. No one complains until it's their problem, which is a problem of football all over, really, isn't it? Is that, you know, if we were that arsed. This is the thing about the militancy of it, is that, look, it's affected us, so we're annoyed, and we're right to kick off and you know, and have a word and what have you. But what we should be doing from afterwards now is Liverpool fans and Spirit of Shankly and all the supporters groups and clubs who are likely to be in the Champions League should get together and look ahead over the next 5 years or whatever and see where are the plans to have them. Let's start putting some plans in place to speak to try and have a dialogue with UEFA and say, come on, look, we don't want to be, because it's tough, because I've heard people saying, just rotate it between Paris, Rome, Berlin, Munich, Glasgow, London, whatever. Pick the major cities in Europe and just rotate it through them. Is that a bit elitist? I don't know. It is a tough one because I don't think UEFA do it for altruistic reasons. No. In any way, shape or form, but they will have that as a defence, and it's not a bad defence to have at the same time. But yeah, look, the only thing I'd say is that I think ultimately everyone who's going to get there will you know, more or less be, you know, people will find a way to get there by hook or by crook. And through that adversity, we tend to generate some incredible stories along the way. You know, I love listening to people's tales of getting to the Ataturk and all that kind of stuff. And it doesn't feel it at the time, of course, but hopefully it
all
does
made different by a win, innit?
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I mean, I'm gutted for the people who, you know, you're talking about, there's people being forced to pay hundreds and hundreds of pounds now for tickets. Then you're paying thousands in travel and then being asked to pay thousands in accommodation. It's a shame. I saw someone say, I don't know whether it was Tony, I don't know whether it was Nicky also, that one of those, the old school lads, saying it's so annoying that people's experience of going to a Champions League final is being ruined by the stress that's being generated by going to it. It's just going to a game of footy. We didn't have this stress organising going to any of the games along the way. Why should it be this stressful to organise it to go to what should be a final, which should be the event that had the most thought? Because, as you rightly say, this is 2 or 3 years in the making. This isn't, oh shit, this team's drawn this other team, how do we get there? Oh, we'll chuck on some more flights, oh, we'll chuck on some more trains, and we'll do with it. They seem to be able to sort it in that instance. It's mad that it's not getting sorted for something as big as this. Ben Fisher, good question this. Fisher_Ben. Pick a 5-a-side of Liverpool's left-backs all eras.
Starting in goal.
Good shout. Why?
Came on for Reina, was it, when he punched, was it Franny Jeffers?
It was Westerveld when he got sent off.
for Jeffers, was it?
Yeah.
In, I think it was 1999 or something like that in the derby. I think we lost the game anyway, but I don't think Staunton conceded. So he's played in goal, so there's a little bit of experience there for me.
Okay.
I've gone Jamie Carragher.
Sounds, yeah.
Kind of season at left back. So yeah, he's me defender basically. Then I've gone Alan Kennedy because he's, you know, scored some important goals over the years.
As we discovered though, watching the 84 Cup, Alan Kennedy can't pass for shit.
He's not there to pass. I'd probably take Fabio Aurelio for me, like, really tricky player who probably shouldn't have been a left back.
Yeah.
And then, you know what, I can't see past Robbo. I mean, I just want him, he's everywhere, mate, and that's my five-a-side team.
So I've gone for Julian Dixon goal because everyone loves to chuck a fat lad in goal, like who can't run. Sound. I went for Steve Warner because I just think he just loves to chuck it about a bit, get stuck in and what have you. And then he's basically anchoring me defence. And then I've got my attacking three is Robbo, Reset and Aurelio. John Arne Reset, bang centre, just work it, have him arrive late on the edge and smash them in. That's our sole tactic. And yeah, you've got your legs in Robbo and Warner.
We're not playing Samagos, we're playing the short ones. Though is Reset all right for that? Like, because I feel like he's going to sky quite a few.
I mean, yeah, there's a good chance as any. But I mean, for a team of left backs, he's probably still. He's going to score a couple, isn't he?
Yeah,
nothing else. Like,
I feel like he's one of them lads who, when you're playing five-a-side, basically from just on the edge of the area, he's going to hit it as hard as if he was playing a pass from.
We play with a couple of lads like that. We've got Jamie Richards, everyone knows from Redmen TV, and we've got Liam Tolan, who people might know from United People's TV,
and Jack Hart.
And Jack Hart as well for Redmen TV as well. Just lads who love twatting the ball really hard and more often than not over the crossbar. Tricky, skillful in Aurelio, power shot in Reset, and then your workers in Warner, Robbo, and your fat lad in goal and Julian Dix. Nailed it. Chris, I'm going to pick up with you on this one. The Anfield Way.
Yeah.
Red_JY_. Why did Chan not leave in January? And let's have this as a wider conversation because your Twitter has blown up in the last 24 hours.
Yeah, I put a tweet out saying, like, I don't understand why people are going mental on Emre Can. I mentioned it on the news show on Tuesday, and it just seems like people are really wanting to hate on Emre Can. I got into a few mad conversations last night on Twitter about it, and people were like, well, Liverpool haven't got a fee. And I was like, well, he's literally signed a contract and he's about to complete said contract. I mean, there was nothing in the contract that says he has to sign an extra 2 years so Liverpool can sell him for money.
Yeah.
We're now in the stage where we're getting dead annoyed with a midfielder who's given us all every single time he's put on the red shirt for us and has completed his contract with no problems whatsoever. Yeah. People were arguing with me about, well, at least Phil Coutinho was able to get us a fee. Phil Coutinho could have derailed our season. Phil Coutinho was faking fucking injuries to not play. Phil Coutinho was upsetting the dressing room and calling senior squad members together to try and get them to tell Jurgen Klopp and the owners that he should be allowed to move. And yet and this was the argument against Emre Can, and I couldn't believe it. And I was just like, what are you all like? Why is it like this? Why do we have to be like this? Because I went back and I looked at the Liverpool Echo from last year because I thought I remembered something. Liverpool refused to sell him. Yeah. And he's gone, okay, sounds. Yeah. And then why hasn't he left in January? Did a bid come in January? I don't know. Yeah. But I don't remember a bid coming in January for him.
To be fair,
he's in the Champions League.
Yeah.
Exactly why. The reason that we were telling Phil Coutinho that he has to stay with us. What's the point in you going to Barcelona now? You can get Champions League football here at Liverpool. Well, Emre Can could have moved to Juventus, but couldn't play in the Champions League.
It's that thing as well, is that we decided we needed midfielders. We needed Emre Can. He was an important member of that squad. He wouldn't have been allowed to go in January. He wasn't allowed to go in January. So the reason he didn't leave in January is because Liverpool didn't want him to leave in January, and they've obviously thought maybe we can convince him. Maybe we can just show him that this is the right place for him. And
hey, listen, you're exactly right, but let's not forget, we also knew that we couldn't sign Keita in the summer. Now, had we signed Keita in the summer, the answer may have been different on Emre Can leaving in the summer. And
look, there's the thing for me, and Emre Can doesn't go with my well wishes because ultimately, and whether it's on him or whether it's in its agent, it's not my. I don't have to fucking delve deep into this. I've got every right to be annoyed with a player who's chosen not to sign the new contract. And the sticking point boils down to, and I back Liverpool on this, is by all accounts, he wants a release clause that Liverpool don't think is fitting of his quality as a footballer and what they're prepared to invest in him. And they don't want to start setting precedents of having release clauses in footballers' contracts. Well, if Emre Can thinks that much of himself that he wants to have that, or thinks that little of himself that he wants to have that, fair fuck, so we can fuck off. I'm not arsed. If someone doesn't want to play for Liverpool, I'm not arsed about them.
Which but that's totally fine.
But that's the limit of it. I'm not like... He'll go and he'll have a very good career elsewhere because he's a very good footballer. I've got no great positive feelings about him. I've got no great negative feelings about him. To be honest, I do think he's a good footballer, but at the same time, is he replaceable in that squad?
Is he worth breaking your wage structure or your contract structure for? Probably
I
not.
don't. Is Emre Can so good that you give him a release clause that means Roberto Firmino asks for a release clause and Salah asks for a release clause and Mane asks for a release clause and Van Dijk and everyone in between? No. Emre Can isn't good enough for that. If Mo Salah came to me and said, I'm not signing a new contract unless you give me a release clause, I'd consider it. And even then, Liverpool are bigger and things, and we're meant to, if we've got a better plan and a long-term vision for it, I'd continue to tell everyone else to do one, because you've got to draw a line in the sand over some things, and some things are more important, and not having teams come in and rob your players. Look at the state of Barcelona, what the turmoil that caused
the Neymar deal,
because the PSG come in and had Neymar, and the knock-on effect that ended up having. So yeah, I don't want Liverpool in that situation. We nearly lost Luis Suarez to Arsenal because we had a similar sort of thing. Nah. And I say, I've got no... Emre Can can fuck off as far as I'm concerned. That, if he doesn't want to play for Liverpool, as far as I'm concerned, that will always be on him. I only hope that he has a really poor career off the back, because I love nothing more than lads. We've got a few. Sai Hughes' books, I don't know if they're down on the shelf here, but the consistent thread he's done, that he did the players in the 80s, the 90s and the noughties, and the consistent thread to every one of the players that he interviews who left Liverpool before they retire and before hitting their peak or whatever, is they let their ego get in their own way. They thought they could do more. They thought they could do better. They went to somewhere else and they regret it to this day. And I hope Emre Can joins the distinguished list of players.
I don't wish him that at all. I just think, you know what, he's gone. He's done what he was asked to do at Liverpool Football Club. Now, if I could take a pick of what happens to him, yeah, maybe I would. But ultimately, he's done what we've asked him. And we're the ones who didn't want to sell him. If he goes on and has a good career, I'll be fine with that as well. He leaves with no bad blood for me.
Yeah.
That's the difference, because I don't think he warranted it. People coming out yesterday with tweets like, well, that's fucking karma, you're not getting in the squad for the World Cup. Why? Because you didn't fucking sign a new contract.
It's not karma, it's a
fucking injury.
It's injury. Yeah, it's not karma at all. Fantastic. Well, we had a few more questions, but we're going to wrap that up there. There's loads and loads. Thank you very much to everyone who tweeted in this week. Much appreciated. We're taking more questions next week. The podcast, the pre-Kiev podcast. Oh my word. Yeah, listen, we do loads and loads of podcasting content. You've heard a little bit of it today. If you want more of it, more in-depth and detailed Liverpool coverage from every possible angle, cannot recommend the redmentv.com enough. So much great stuff. We're getting calls and emails and offers in left, right and centre from some genuinely amazing guests. You'll have to get on the website and just wait and see. As they start with Gillan Balaguer, get involved with the commentary tracks and the final words as well that we've done around the European Cup finals, and a whole heap more as well. Thank you very much for watching. If you're on YouTube, thank you very much for listening. If you're on your podcast app, and walk on.